Welcome to Academic Guru's Tutoring Tuesday, where we answer all of your high school, college, and university questions. If you would like your question to be featured on next week's Tutoring Tuesday, please submit your questions to questions@academicgurusinc.com. Don't forget to subscribe so you can stay current with all of our new videos. Today I'll be solving a question that was posed by Madison, and the question reads, express the function y equals 2x squared plus 8x plus 1 in vertex form. So as always, I'll be breaking down the questions into steps, starting with understanding the question. So let's start by graphing this function. If we graph the function, we can readily see that this is a parabola. And the vertex is the lowest point here. And that's exactly what we're trying to determine. So if we define the vertex, we would say that the vertex of a parabola is the point where the parabola crosses its axis of symmetry. Or in other words, it is the lowest point on the graph if the coefficient of x squared is positive. So in our example here, 2 is in fact positive. So the definition does apply. If we were to write it out as in a generic form, the vertex form would look something like this. A, and in brackets we have x plus b squared plus c, where the vertex is negative b and c. Now that we have an understanding of what we mean by parabolas, the vertex form, and vertex, we can move on to the second step, which is to factor out the function. So let's start with the original function. So we've got our y equals 2x squared plus 8x plus 1. And we're factoring out the function because we're trying to convert this function into our vertex form. So we're looking for that a, we're looking for that b, and we're looking for that c. Okay. So in our case, we can see that our a is the 2 in front of the x squared, which we can easily factor out. It's also a common denominator of 8. So after factoring out the 2, we have y equals 2, and in brackets we have x squared plus 4x, and closed bracket, plus 1. So we haven't changed anything, we've simply factored out the 2 from the function. Okay, so we're now one step closer to the vertex form, but we're missing one step. Step 3, which is to complete the square. In other words, we're trying to find the x plus b squared portion of the function. So let's start by rewriting the function in its factored out form. So here we have y equals 2, and in brackets we have our x squared plus 4x, and we've left a space here for completing the bracket, plus 1. So here's a little review of what completing the square entails. So we'll start by focusing on the linear coefficient 4. You want to take the 4 multiplied by 1/2 and then square it. This equals 4. And we can now plug that into our function above. So here I've added the 4. And bear in mind, if you're adding the 4, you also have to subtract it in order not to change the original function. So we'll do that here by subtracting 2 times 4. I'm multiplying the 2 here because there's also a 2 in front of the bracket of the original function, which is multiplying the 4. So if we're adding a 4 which is being multiplied by a 2, we also have to subtract that 4 multiplied by 2 in order not to change the original function. If we calculate that through, this reduces to 2 times the bracket x squared plus 4x plus 4 end bracket minus 7. Now we are a step closer, but we're yet to complete the square. That is, again, we're trying to find the x plus b squared component, and we do that as we did in a previous video, which I would refer you to if you want a more detailed explanation in this format. And we're trying to fill in the blanks here. And the way to go about that is to again focus on the linear coefficient 4 and the constant 4. We want the sum of the two numbers to equal the constant 4, and we want the product of the two numbers to equal the linear coefficient, which is also 4. It looks like the number 2 works quite well because the sum of 2 plus 2 is equal to 4, and the product of 2 multiplied by 2 is also equal to 4. Okay, so now we can go ahead and complete the square. We know that 2 times bracket x plus 2 squared minus 7 is the vertex form, and our vertex is at point -2, -7. If we go back to our graph, we can check on that, and we'll find that the vertex is at -2 and -7. So there you are, Madison. I hope you found this helpful. Thank you for tuning into our Tutoring Tuesday channel. If you enjoyed watching this video and found it helpful, please give us a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe. We would love to hear from you. Until next week's Tutoring Tuesday, happy studying.